Hi everyone, I'm Farmer Dean with Tangletown Gardens and Wiseacre Eatery. Today I want to talk to you about cover crops, succession planting, and crop rotation here on our farm and why it's so important in our vegetable production operation. Cover crops such as this field of sunflowers and buckwheat, there's some sun hemp in here, some clover, and a number of other things, are very important to the health of our soil and to our farm as a whole. It does a couple of things. These sunflowers, one, have a really deep taproot that helps loosen and break up that soil and also brings up minerals and recycles nutrients that are lost from below some of our other crops that could actually get them. They also act as a great source of nectar and pollen for many of our native pollinators and also our honeybees that we have here on our farm. And the buckwheat, like the sunflowers, provides a really great pollen and nectar source. But in general, what happens in these buffer strips, like you see behind me, is we end up creating essentially a habitat and a preserve for all of the beneficial insects that we want to maintain in our farm. As we plant crops and we rotate crops, which we'll talk about in a minute, we're doing some light tillage. We keep our tillage to a minimum, but we are doing some disturbance to that soil and also some of those native insect communities. By planting these buffer strips, we help give them essentially a spot to find refuge while we're doing some of those other things, so that when we then come back and put a new crop right next to it, all of those wonderful beneficial insects are ready to go to help us take care of that next crop. Cover crops also give us an opportunity to really replenish the soil and add organic matter into our soil. All of this biomass that has accumulated, once this crop is done, we'll mow it, and then we'll till that in and incorporate it just a real shallow bit into the soil. As that decomposes and breaks down, that helps the soil health, feeds many of those beneficial insects and microbiology in the soil, and helps actually build new soils. So it's a really great way to sustain our soils and regenerate the soils that obviously have been lost over the last several decades of farming. So succession planting is simply multiple plantings that we do of a given crop throughout the year. In the case of broccoli, we have 7 to 8 successions each year, which means about every 2 weeks for a pretty good duration of time, we're planting a new crop so that we can continue to evolve and adapt our crops that are available through the course of the year. And obviously, in some cases like tomatoes, we plant one crop, put it in the field, and then we harvest for a long duration of time. In the case of broccoli, we're going to plant these. We're going to go through, there's 5,000 plants in this field, and we're going to harvest them all in a matter of a week or two. The warmer it is, the shorter that window gets. As we get closer to fall, we can plant a larger group and harvest for weeks and weeks and weeks, because they start slowing down as we get cooler. So in the case of broccoli, we're continually planting new crops. And in some cases, succession planting and crop rotation are one and the same, in the sense that in the case of these zucchinis, this is our third planting of zucchini. We've got the first ones we're already harvesting, the second ones are a little bit bigger than these, and this is our third crop. And we start doing the succession plantings right away, but we also incorporate crop rotation. So in the field behind me earlier this spring was predominantly lettuce and kohlrabi and fennel, things that are very different plant-wise from cucumbers. We do the crop rotation mainly to manage both disease and insects. If we continually move plants around the farm, the diseases don't build up in an area, the insects don't build up in an area, and that really helps keep our populations of both of those things down, which really helps in the control and management and in the health of the plants. So that's a little bit about what's happening from our farm and our fields this week. Until next time, I'm Farmer Dean. Have a great week.